Who's next?
How y'all doing? Back in another episode of the If Factor Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson. Today we have someone special. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Hey man, say man, no, I'm playing. It's I'm Jaicee Christian, man. I don't even know where to start, but I'm Jaicee Christian from Birmingham, Alabama. Went to Alabama State University and currently work for ESPN.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that being said, how are you doing mentally, physically, and emotionally?
Uh, Mentally, I'm doing good. I'm always above an eight, man. This year I've definitely got into a new mindset of trying to control the things that I can control and not worrying about the things that I can't control. So
Yes, sir.
therefore, I'm um I'm a 10 today. So like I said, work got me a little bit earlier, but I'm a 10. I'm a 10 right now.
Uh-huh.
Physically, I'm good, man. I was a little late today coming from the gym. So, I'm good physically. I'm a little sore, but I'll be all right. You said emotionally?
Hmm.
Emotionally, I'm good. I kind of pride myself on being good on mentally, physically, and emotionally. So, um, emotionally, I'm good. I don't have no headaches or anything like that. So I'm all
Good.
right.
So you ain't stressing. You ain't stressing. You good. You at a 10. Now to be at a 10 is a great thing. I think I'm at a 9.5. I ain't nothing bad.
9.5.
I'm right there too. So I'm good. I would say that that's the pridefulness of me asking that question. I came from a day I noticed I was interviewing a young lady and I was like asking questions and I went back and said, "How you doing mentally, physically, emotionally?" Some years back, and she like broke down telling me how she was doing. I'm like, that's why I created the show, because a lot of times people go out through their whole life, nobody ever asks that. Nobody
Right.
ever sit there and try to see how people are doing. So I'm glad you're doing good, man.
Sure.
So I say, what's your it factor? Why do you do what you do?
You know, Honestly, with that question, I've been asking people all day, like, how am I going to answer this question? Like 100%. Um, so my it factor, um, honestly, it really came from my dad for the most part. My dad and my family, but it started with my dad. Like when my dad used to come get me all the time from my mom's crib.
Mhm.
Um, he would always tell me, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be great one day. He poured into me, at an early age. He'd be like, you're gonna be great one day. You, my son, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be great. My mom, on the other hand, will tell me I can do anything that I wanted to do.
Yes, sir.
And, just put my mind to it, do everything that I want to do. She, my mom's really just like me. Like
Uh-huh.
she'd be like, she's funny. So she'd be like, you strong, you I forgot what movie it
Yeah, you
came
have
off
been
of,
courted.
but
Yep.
it, so yeah, she was like, use strong, use black, use a man, use a man. So
Uh-huh.
she'll mean it jokingly, but that's my dog, that's my girl. But yeah, it really came from my parents for the most part. Like when my father passed away, I vowed to myself that, I would put my family's name on the map, no matter what I needed to do in a good way. So when my uncle stepped up, they would always try to raise me. They would kind of like teach me how to work on cars, teach me how to do all these other things. And I would always say, like, I got y'all one day. And they'd be like, what you mean? Like, I'm gonna put the family name on the map.
So,
And so that's really my A factor, man. I'm huge on family. I just wanna, I just pretty much want to work the best way that I can to honestly be able to make sure that they don't have to work to where I can just put my mom in the crib where I can like, take care of my sister. I can do anything that I need to do, take care of the family the way my dad would have if he was still here.
mhm. Yeah, man, and you doing just that, bro. Like you building up the whole repertoire of when they get ready to take care of your family. And I commend you for wanting to even do that. I feel like I'm from South Georgia. You from Alabama. I feel like that's the Southern way. I get told it all the time.
100%.
Like, you care about people so much. I'm like, hey, that's what you're supposed to do. I was born there. I thought that's what everybody did, so I
Right.
commend you for doing that because a lot of people would just get themselves right and be like, but no, saying that you want to help your family, help your siblings, man, help your mom out, bro. That's what it's all about, man. And in that,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna help but be blessed. So definitely, man. Definitely, brother. I love that, man. So I say, how was it going to Alabama State University and also attending? What have been some of your and graduate? How was all those experiences, man?
Uh, Going to Bama State University, coming from Parker University. You know, Parker was one of the first Negro schools in Alabama. My mom went there, so I went there, right? So my principal was I forgot his title. He was on the board of trustees. I remember he was on the board of trustees,
Mhm.
and he actually helped me get a scholarship to go to Bama State University. So at first, you know, some people that are watching this back home, they always the rivalry between A&M and ASU. I
Yeah,
was gonna go to A&M. I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna go to A&M. I ain't gonna lie. And then I got that scholarship money and I was like, hey man, you gotta follow the money. So I ended up going to Alabama State University, probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made because, you know, you kind of see how it worked out for me.
that's all.
So going there, you know, I had a good time. Actually getting there, you know, first time your people drop you off. I just remember being in my dorm room and I was like, I'm really by myself. Like you know,
The
it
same
was
thing
different.
happened to me, bro. Like,
It
really?
was different. It was different because like usually you so used to like getting out your bed and going to your mom room, your dad room, or your sister room, whatever. You so
Mhm.
used to like moving around the crib. But I'm like, I'm really by myself. Like I don't know nobody here. And it's like, all right, well, you know, we gonna single draw. What we gonna do? So,
Mhm.
you know, at that point, you know, I had made friends. A couple of my friends from high school ended up going to that school, which I didn't know that they were already there until I seen them on campus. And I'm like, yo, and they're like, yo. So, you know, we clicked up. You know, we cool.
Mhm.
Um, and those same friends, man. I mean, I made more along the way, but a lot of those friends really much helped me through college. Um, you know, going to college there was just probably one of the best things, like I said before, because there's so many opportunities that you get to be able to go to that school, make friends, go party, and all that other good stuff. So, um, just being able to actually go there
Mhm.
was just fun, you know. Um, Different experiences,
Yeah.
you know, relationships, you know, just the whole HBCU thing. So, you know,
Mhm. That's
it was
all.
cool. It's very broad. It's kind of broad to put in one sentence.
Mhm.
But it was good. And then, you know, I feel like every year I reached a new level. Freshman year, of course, you know, the freshman year you're always partying, you're doing whatever. Sophomore year, you get a little bit serious. I remember, to be honest, I
Mhm.
feel like sophomore year is what really made me like really lock in though, 100%.
Okay.
Um, After that COVID year, you know, everybody got separated because I went there 2019, you know, COVID was like 2020.
Mhm.
Um, that COVID year kind of made me lock in for real. Like I separated myself from the rest of the friend group and really locked in with one guy. His name is my dog. We talk every day. It's my dog Nick, man. So locked in with him. And you know, I had a relationship at that point in time, but I was just so locked in, like between both of them, they were like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, what do I want to do? And
Mhm.
so like I sat down with Nick and you know, like I said, I look up to Nick. Nick's a military guy. He was a little bit older than me. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, we would talk about all these things and like, you know, we sat down, we locked in like late nights, looking up internships and stuff like that. Really just got me on my path for real. So
Mhm.
sophomore year, went to BET. Junior year, um, finished up BET, got ESPN, and then senior year was ESPN all the way out. So, you know, just being able to level up every year
Mhm.
was something that I never realized that I did until now, until actually having this conversation,
Mhm.
that every year was like another stepping stone to something different. So, and then graduating, of course, was probably one of the best moments of my life because at that point, well, I'm sorry, it was the best, and it was like it was kind of sad too because I
It's
was like,
over. It's like
oh,
it's over.
it was
No.
over with. You know, like, bro, like I done had all this fun. You know, I didn't, yeah, you know, we
Uh,
done had all this fun and stuff, like you know, and I
uh,
was over with. So it's like, dang. So it was a little emotional. Did I cry? No.
yeah.
But I kind of felt I felt like I was leaving a part of me behind.
Mhm.
And you know, graduating it was fun because I sat by my best friend, which is still my best friend. Me and my best friend clicked up sophomore year too. So like, I was sitting by her
Mhm.
and looking at my family in the crowd. I just felt good because I graduated from a black school, a black high school,
Mhm.
and I'm the first one in my family to graduate from an HBCU. So,
Mhm.
it was just amazing. I made history within my family. And, to have my family be there for me again after graduating high school was just another achievement that I was happy about, excited about. And being able to be among honors and have hoods on and stuff. It was just amazing. You never really realize how much you've been through until you actually done it.
Mhm.
And in that moment, when I walked across the stage and I hear everybody cheering, it was like, me personally, I was a low-key dude in college. Like I had my fun around my
Yeah.
friends, but I never did anything to kind of like be noticed for real.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
you got me?
I got
Okay.
you.
So as a lot of people would say now, they be like, you got motion.
Uh,
Like I had motion,
yeah.
but I ain't never really glowed about the motion. Like I was just me.
Mhm.
So hearing everybody cheer when I walked across the stage, not just my family, but my friends and all the people that I met along the way just kind of took me by storm. And I was just overall happy.
That's dope, bro. That's dope, bro. I love that you had a great experience. I went to Clark Atlanta University myself, and that experience in itself was amazing, bro. I can't even like I be getting flashbacks, like, bro, I wish I could, but I'm glad
Man,
because I ain't trying to go back. But nah, I went back to speak to the school, man, and talk to the kids every year. I try to go back, and every time somebody ask like, "Man, how was it when you was here?" I was like, "I only graduated in 2019, man." But I'll be like, "You know what? It was like this, and this," and they be like, "Yeah." I'd be like, I'd be thankful to see that the school had it changed, of course, because it's supposed to, but it hasn't changed as much as far as the impact that you get from when you leave. So thankful for that
for
from both
sure.
schools, man. I love that. So
For
who are
sure.
you outside of all you are known for?
Um, who is JC?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, JC is a funny guy
Mm-hmm.
from a small town called Tarrant, Alabama.
Okay.
Um, JC likes to fish. JC likes to go hunting. JC likes to ride four wheelers. uh, I'm just a cool dude, man. I really just stay out the way. I don't really say too much. I'm just a funny guy that's the guy in your friend group that's like real quiet until you really get to know him.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just chill, man. I like to get active. I like to go on trips. I like to, you know, do everything that everybody else likes to do. But um, for me, it's just more so I'm just I don't know, I'm just very chill. I like to have conversation. It's the little things for me that make me happy,
Hmm.
that make me, want to go out, that make me want to like, have fun and enjoy life. So it's just the little things for me. So I'm just a a little guy. Well, not a little guy, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Someone that likes the little things.
Yeah.
And, for me, that's just who I am. Very outgoing, very adventurous, and just, someone that likes to have fun. It ain't got to be the club every time, but just somebody that like, likes to have fun outside of like, the club and in the real world.
I love it. I love it, man. You say you had various internships at your college, man. You was able to go work at ESPN. You was able to go work at BET. You worked with the Seattle Seahawks. Man, how was those experiences?
The experiences was good, man. I mean, being in college, having those opportunities, and honestly, I had those opportunities before they made those opportunities known for everybody, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, because each year that we go, each new year, there's a new opportunity for HBCU students to like get in. But back then, it's not been that long, but then within like a few year radius, it's been easier to get on. Back then, you really had to search for it.
Yeah.
So like, um, being able to have those opportunities,
Mhm.
like I said, BET was just some major. Honestly, BET was just Black Entertainment Television. Um, I was a marketing, I was a marketing intern, but
Mhm.
also did communications. It was good. It was an eye opener for sure. It just made me realize that just because I'm black and I'm from the hood,
Right.
Um, you can do anything that you want to do. I'm in school,
Hmm.
like I work for BET. Like, I ain't gonna lie, did my head blow just a little bit? Kind of sort of. But I've never been cocky. Like I was still
Yeah.
humble about it and all those great things. But it was a point in time where I was like, I ain't gotta go there. I work with BET.
Mhm.
So like, and like at that point, I ain't know nobody else that had ever worked at BET. Like I was the only dude that I knew that worked at BET as a sophomore. So great experience being able to work with the BET Awards, being able to work with this guy named Lewis Carr, um, great mentor of mine. He's been in BET for like 30 plus years, almost 40 something years. So he's been there for a long time. Being able to be there and just being able to actually, work with him was pretty cool. And I got a lot of mentors out of working for BET. And BET is really what set me on the ESPN. And a lot of people don't know that.
Mhm.
My manager, I told him my interests and I was like, I love sports. I want to be, you know, I want to work for sports. I want to be able to be in sports, but just not put my body on the line no more.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. He was like, okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. Towards the end of that internship with BET, he called me one day. He was like, you still want to do ESPN? You still want to do sports? I'm like, yeah. He was like, my roommate in college works for ESPN, or from college works for ESPN. I'm like, okay, cool. His name is Justin Tinsley. I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, cool. So I tap in with Justin. We get on the Zoom call. I had to look him up to make sure like I knew everything about him that I needed to know. Found out he was on Around the Horn. He's been on First Take. He writes books. He does Anscape. He does it all. So it's like, all right, cool. I'm talking to him. He giving me game on how to like get on. I'm like, all right, bet. I get on. At first, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think I was gonna get it because like they were asking for they were asking for what were they asking for? Examples of my work.
Mhm.
And like for me as a journalist, I've never I'm a journalist, but I hate to write. I've never liked writing. I've never liked it. So, I was like, I don't have anything written, but I've got broadcast journalist things because in my class, my teacher was like, how do you want to be a journalist and you don't know about baseball, you don't know about swimming or whatever. So he had me carry a camera around, record myself at a baseball game, do like the swimming tournaments, do golf, do soccer, and all those things, and then just kind of interview people around campus. So little did I know what my teacher was making me doing was literally setting me up for success within internships outside of school. So ended up sending that stuff in. I got that internship. And I remember reading the letter. It was like, you've been accepted to ESPN, da, da, da. Da. I'm in my mom's crib skin. And I'm like, yeah. She like, what's up? She's like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, I got accepted to the ESPN, da, da, da. She was like, okay, yeah, tell, tell. We go out to eat, we celebrate all that stuff.
Mhm.
And you know, that experience, I would say it opened my eyes up more because I traveled a lot more than I did with BT.
Yeah.
Um, got a chance to go to the NFL draft, got a chance to go to the Big East tournament here in Connecticut, got
Mm.
a chance to go to the Final Four, the first Final Four when Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark was going back and forth. So like I've seen a lot of history made with just being an intern at ESPN. So,
Mhm.
being able to do all those things, it grew my network. And then it also just showed me that anything is really possible. You can actually be on the road, have fun, and still get paid to talk about sports.
That's
So it's like, all right, cool. Like, I don't want to leave. So, that experience was just great. A lot of those mentors that I had back then, I work with those mentors today.
Mhm.
Side by side that my coworkers now, but I still call them my mentors. And it was great. The Seattle move. Man, that's an experience, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I can't even tell you some of the things that I've been through with that, but
Oh man.
um going to Seattle right after college was very, very eye-opening because I remember when I got that internship, I went to this thing called I'm gonna put people on with this. I went to the HBCU Legacy Bowl
Mm. Okay.
and
Yeah.
like they had different teams there. They had like they had the Saints there, they had the Pelicans there, they had the Seahawks there, they had the Rams there, they had Chicago Bears there, and a couple other teams that they had, the Giants, the Jets, and some other team that they had, and they were looking for internships. So it was a lot of HBCU students going there. doing their thing. But it wasn't just teams. It was like, everybody. They had, AT&T, Coca-Cola, they had all these companies there, all these Fortune 300 companies, they had all these companies there or whatever, just trying to give, HBCU students a shot. And I met the lady from HR from the Seahawks, and I told her, I was like, hey, I don't have my resume on me right now, but is there an email that I can send it to
Mhm.
when I get back to the hotel? Because I had handed all my resumes out. And she was like, yeah, you can send it here. I'm like, all right, cool. I kid you not, I gave her my resume. I didn't hear nothing until like after graduation. And I'm in the crib. I'm laying up on my bed looking at the ceiling, like, what am I about to do? Like I put in all this work and I don't have no job. I ain't got no internship. I ain't got nothing. Probably like a couple days after graduation, they called me and was like, hey, can we interview you for the Seattle Seahawks communications intern position?
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm open to it. And they were like, okay, well, um, can you interview today? I'm like, today? I'm like, nah, I can't interview today. Like, I don't know no information on y'all, man. Like, all I know is Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. I don't know nothing else. Like, relax. So I'm like, yeah, I was like, just interview me tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I was like, today's kind of shaky. I gotta go to work. And I was like, but I'm off tomorrow. Is it possible to interview tomorrow? So like, yeah, we can interview you at 11 in the morning, da da da, because they're 3 hours behind us.
Yeah.
So oh, I'm sorry. For Atlanta, they're like 2 hours behind. For Alabama, they're 3 hours behind. So he was like, if we call you at 11 o'clock, I'm like, all right, cool. That whole night, I'm researching Seattle Seahawks, this, that, the third, who the managers are,
Uh,
all that stuff. Get the interview. Like I said, I researched the communications department very thoroughly. So I had questions for like all the communications people. I get on the Zoom call. Tell me what, it's like 17 folks in there, just like one big table,
Whoa.
17 folks all the way back. I ain't gonna lie, I was
Mhm.
a little scared. I'm like, I ain't never had an interview with 17 people. And it's just they interviewing me, so like they going down the list, they asking questions about different experiences and all that stuff, and I do well. They
Mhm.
asked if I had any questions or whatever. And me, if you cheat in college, like you know how to cheat. So
Yeah,
if you can cheat in college, you can cheat on the interview.
definitely.
I, I had the phone right there with the LinkedIn.
Smart man.
Scrolling on the
Smart.
LinkedIn,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
asking
yeah. You
questions.
said, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I noticed she went to Clark, Atlanta.
Uh-huh. You went to Clark.
How
Yeah.
did you get into this role? Da 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 da. Yeah, I
Man.
was locked in. I was ready. So
Uh-huh.
kid you not, like a couple days go by, didn't hear nothing. I'm talking to my mom. My mom was like, keep faith or whatever.
Mhm.
And all that to say, like, when that call came through, I was like, hey, I'm excited, whatever. And what's crazy is I was very close with the guy from the Rams. Um, with the he's the communication director, he's the director of communications with the Los Angeles Rams.
Mhm.
I'm very, very still cool with him. He
Yeah.
promised me an internship over there, but they gave it away. So
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of like, I don't know, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And
Uh,
then they called me. They was like, yeah, we want you to. He was like, well, we got one more interview for you. I'm like, all right, cool. She was like, you, how do you feel about moving to Seattle? I'm like, I feel good. She was like, well, you pack your bags. You're a Seahawk now. Da da da. And she was like, you don't sound excited. I'm like, because it don't feel real. Like I mean,
I need
I
a
just
letter.
graduated college
I
like
need a
a week
letter.
ago. Like, yeah, just graduated a week ago. Now you telling me I'm going to the league? Like, come on, now
Right.
he's for real. So I'm trying to pinch myself to wake up or whatever. She was like, no, it's real. Like, let me
Mhm.
just hang up and call you back. I'm like, no, 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 you ain't got to do all that. Like, we good, we good. But all that to say, man, I had a great time in Seattle. Moved there,
Mhm.
um, moved across the country, had a good time, made a lot of good friends. Made a lot of good player friends. A lot of my player friends have been traded to different teams. So getting connected with all these different teams now is pretty cool. And man, like, being able to be there and just be among like a DK Metcalf or a Geno Smith or a Kenneth Walker and all these other guys, it's just an amazing experience because you have to realize that these are regular people. Just
Definitely.
because they got money don't mean nothing.
Mhm.
And like, a lot of these guys, I talk to these guys like they regular. Like I kid you not, Boye Mafe he's listed as a linebacker, but he's an edge rusher. we went out to eat one day. It was like a group of my friends. We went out to eat or whatever. And I forgot that he was a player until we walked outside and I seen that Benz. And I was like, oh, I forgot. And like, he that's my boy. But
Mhm.
a lot of those guys, man, they're regular people. They treated me like family. And I have a huge respect for them. So every time they come to my side of the country, I always go to the game. Or, I go to Seattle and I hit them up and be like, when you come back to the city, I gotta come see y'all. So I just keep the line of communications open with those guys and with the front office, I kind of keep up with those people. Just talking to them, making sure my network is good. So if I ever want to go back to a team, I can, you
Yeah,
know,
man. Yeah, man. That's one of my questions. Would you ever want to go back and work in the NFL? That one of your
for
desires.
sure.
You young, so I know you. I know you want to. Hey, let me slide back on over here. You
Man,
know.
I literally had this conversation today with
Mhm.
somebody that I work with. Yeah, I would definitely go back 100%.
Yeah,
Um,
you owe it to yourself, man.
no question about it. I would go back. And that's not saying that ESPN is bad, but
Right.
bro, it's just different. Like I'm gonna tell you some of the perks of like working for a team. Depending on where you are, I'm gonna tell you some of the perks. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. You ain't gotta go grocery shopping because they feed you every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You work probably like 25/8. Okay, you work a lot of hours. Check
Mhm.
gonna be good for sure. Rent out there, you get like a roommate or two, rent cheap for sure. And then on top of that, you cool with the players. They follow you on IG.
That's the
Come on
thing.
now, be for real. Like I ain't gonna lie, I don't know, you cool with the players.
Mhm.
You get anything that you want.
Yeah.
Like especially in the department that I was in, like, if you really cool, if they really cool with you, they'll ask for your IG, like they want to hang out with you outside of this and see how you are and things of that nature. You walk in with a player, what? Everything free, like
Everything.
everything free, like, oh my God, it's so and so, so and so, it's DK back. You
Mhm.
know, you like they pay for your meals and all that stuff. And it's like, bro, like, some of my friends that are in the league, like I would go out to eat with them and they'd be like, I got you, don't worry about it. And I'm like, bro, like I can pay for my own meal. Like, I mean, I got it. Like, I mean, I'm getting paid to be here. So you feel
Yeah.
me? Like I can pay my own meal, but they're like, no, 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 you solid, I got you.
Mhm.
And it's like, you just, you know, coming from a lifestyle like that and then coming to a job, it's kind of different. So, you just kind of realize that how good that you really have it and how good you could have it. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that I ain't got it good now, but I'm just saying like, it's a big lifestyle that you have to get used to. But in that lifestyle and in that limelight, you have to realize everybody is looking at you just like everybody is looking at them. So you're definitely under a microscope, which I'm fine with being under that microscope, but it was just fun because you had different things and different avenues that you would do. Like I never thought I would be on the field for a Mariners game for the first pitch.
Yeah.
Never thought I would do that in a million years. Never thought I would go to a a, um a Seattle Kraken game, which is the hockey team out there.
Mhm.
Never thought I would go there and be in the suites chilling. Never. It's a lot of things and a lot of perks that you get by just working, and you're on the clock while you're doing those things because you have to be a PR representative for some of these players.
Mhm.
So just being able to do that stuff and all those great things, I would go back because that's a lifestyle that's cool. You're getting paid to make sure everything is cool,
Mhm.
shoot the breeze. But don't get me wrong, you work though. You really because when it's
Work.
time to work, you work for sure.
Right.
But it's a lot of perks that come with it. And it's just honestly a great time and that's an eye opener again, because
Mhm.
you realize all these things that you can do um with the team. You travel, you do all these things and they take care of you.
Yes, sir, man. Love that, bro. So, man, I love this conversation, man. You give me all the insight. I'm thankful for that. I would
For
say,
sure.
how is it now working for ESPN, man? How has it been? You say you're a storyteller, and
Mhm.
I consider myself a storyteller on this podcast, man. I would say, what are some things that you do at ESPN that make you say, dang, we're doing this, man? How is it currently working there?
It's good. When I first got there, you kind of like find the lay of the land. You're so used to kind of like moving all the time. But when you get here, you have to be still and
Mhm.
you have to just be locked in on things that you do. So right now it's pretty cool, man. I mean, I tell stories within television, which is cool. No, you don't see my face, and no, you may not know that I made it, but you know, when people watch my stuff, that you have to realize a lot of the things that you make, millions and millions of people are gonna watch it, and they don't know that you made it.
Hmm.
So, like being there, I was on college football this past season. So, have you ever seen like I know you watch football, so
Yeah.
you ever seen like how they do like a flashback
Hmm.
on let's say I'm a Bama fan, so let's say Jalen Miller, right?
Yeah.
They had a flashback and he threw for like 400 yards or something, but whatever. You know how they have like his picture come up, it'll say Jalen Miro,
Hmm.
uh, Alabama quarterback, and then it'll show like the highlights or whatever of him like going crazy, him running for like 100 yards and him throwing. That's stuff that I would make.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
like that's like the production part of it.
Hmm.
Things that I would make that would kind of like, it will show during like football games and things of that nature. And basically the way I'm telling my story or the way I'm telling the story is showing you how he's been this season. Boy
Hmm.
been balling this whole season. He was in the Heisman race at the second. So it's kind of like for a second he was in the Heisman race. So, you kind of showing what he's been doing this whole season. He been throwing to the freshman that they had. Why am I blanking on his name? Number two, for sure, he been going crazy.
What
So
you talk about?
Ryan Williams, like throwing to Ryan Williams all this whole time, making Ryan Williams, shine and all these great things, but just kind of showing the story that hey, the boy, he's balling, he's doing what he got to do, and yeah, just being able to work in that avenue and being able to share a story about the team that I like, go through the highlights and pick the plays that I want to pick and things of that nature, having the creativity to, make the front end and be able to, show like a little highlight of him throwing the little ball up or like, doing whatever, like him doing this little dance or whatever. So, it's tough. Like, being able to do that's cool. I really appreciate that. And on the communication side, being able to, work with some of these higher ups like Jimmy Pataro, being able to work with him, being able to shoot things that he needs, and being able to work with John and SJ and some of those guys that are in, different departments, but they give me the opportunity to help them out with these big shoots that they have. And you meet so many people in the process, right? Like I met Nick Saban, got a
Hmm.
chance to meet Jason Kelsey, got a chance to meet L. Duncan, Stephen A. Um, and a couple more people, man. It's one more person that I want to say.
Hmm.
Pat McAfee. Got a chance to meet him. Cool dude, by the way. Cool dude. He's chill.
Yeah.
But getting a chance to meet those guys is pretty cool. And yeah, man, it's just I put it to you like this, like being able to tell other stories to where when your chapter and your book is closed, you're able to tell your own story and tell the things that you were able to see, people that you were able to meet, and have fun doing it. So that's kind of why I like being at ESPN. That's how it is at ESPN at the moment.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, it's a great adventure.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And only a few more questions before we close, man. I would say,
Good.
when it's all said and done, what would you like to be remembered for?
Mm, that's a good one. I like that.
Thank
Um, as far as like career, or are you talking about period?
you. You know what? Career is only a fragment. We talking about life. Like we want to kids, like yeah, what they remember you for. Like your people, what they remember you for. Your friends, your family, what they remember you
Uh, I want to be remembered as a guy that chased his dreams and went and got it. Like I said, I'm from a small city called Tarrant. A lot of people don't make it out of there.
for.
And I made it out to be able to do all these great things. I left my family behind to do these great things. I talk to my family almost, if not every day, then every other day.
Yeah.
But, I did these things for them, you
Mhm.
know, not for me, but for them. To be remembered as a family man, to be remembered as someone that goes to go get it, not afraid to speak up for what he believes in, not afraid to go for what he wants, and just, someone that's trustworthy, someone that's real, and someone that's always going to be in your corner no matter what. If you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you that you're wrong, but I'm gonna tell you how you can do it right.
Mm.
If you're right, I'm with you when you're right. I had the same friends from freshman year. I
Yeah.
had the same friends from kindergarten. Like it's never changed. It's never changed for me. So just being somebody real and being in the right corner, and just being someone that can like guide you through this journey called life. My catchphrase is in my bio. I know you've probably seen it on Instagram, but life is a journey, but you got to be along for the ride. That's what I live by. That's what I want to be known by. And, that's kind of what I do every day. Every day is a different journey. It's up to you to make it happen or whatever you want to call it.
Man, I love that, bro. I love that, man. You doing that. You doing some things that are amazing because like, oh, this, but no, it's because of that's who the people I reach out to, man. Like I get to see y'all, I look at the stuff, I'm like, all right, cool. Need them in the network. I need to be able to connect with them. And I would say, I pray on it, I write it down, tell my wife, tell everybody else, like, man, I'm gonna bring this person on. And I like that I build a relationship with the people to where I reach out or say, hey, you want this person? Come on. Oh, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to collaborate? So I love to do this, man. I'm thankful I could have you on, bro. So I will also
For
say,
sure.
oh,
Anytime.
anytime, man. I can't wait. We got to do this in person. Definitely got to do this.
Hey, where you at? You in
I'm in
Atlanta?
Atlanta, man, but my boy live up there, so definitely might be up there, man. I got to go visit
Just
him.
let me know. Yeah,
Got
let me know. Either I can come to Atlanta or you can come up here. We can do it. Just let me know.
all right, bet, man. I would say, what advice would you give to someone that would love to be in your shoes someday?
What advice? Network, man.
Yes.
Network. Forget the money, forget the fame, forget what it can do for you. Network. Be nice to people because you never know what seats people will end up being in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just network the best way that you can. You know, you have all these things. You meet all these people. You just never know who can pinpoint and who can just make it's really that simple. I promise you. Because if you can make one phone call, people can make one phone call and you can have a job like that. You can be a CEO just like that. Like, maintain the relationships that you make
Mm-hmm.
because those relationships can carry you a far way. The main reason that I came back to ESPN is because I kept talking to the people while I was in Seattle, and they gave me a job right after the season was over with. So I actually left a game early before we played the Cardinals, and had to move here and start this full-time role. So you know, keep the connections
Mm-hmm.
with your friends, the people that you meet, and these different conferences. Never be afraid to try new things, take risks because you're young. You know, you'd rather take a risk when you're young than when you're older. So take those risks, do what you got to do, but also have fun doing it. Have fun while you're young because at the end of the day, you don't want to just be work, 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 and then your 20s pass you by and you like, I ain't had no fun. Now
Right.
you trying to get it on the back end. Now you trying to have fun doing all these other things, but have fun, but have a work-life balance so you can have fun and when you can have, your time when you're locked in and doing all those great things. But the biggest thing out of what I said was just, network, get internships while you're in college, and just maintain the relationships that you've built. A fat resume won't hurt nobody.
It won't. It ain't hurt me, man. I say I got a whole book about art of networking, man. Start getting questions about people asking me, "Hey, how you got this kids? How you did this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna write a book about it. I'm gonna show you
Yeah,
how to do it." Did it in college, man, and I think that networking is the most pivotal thing for all people, especially young people. Because if you build a network, like you said, you ain't never got to worry about certain things, man. Job, you ain't
at
got to worry
all.
about. No, it ain't certain things. It's everything. You ain't got to worry about nothing. People gonna we gonna take care of each other. So
I
definitely, man.
remember um I remember my interview with
Hmm.
ESPN the first time as an intern. And I interviewed Bill Roden. Well, Bill Roden interviewed me.
Hmm.
Bill Roden is somebody that worked for the New York Times, the Washington Post, ESPN. This he is who I aspire to be.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, this is a little sidetrack story, but I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I
Mhm.
remember we went to the Baltimore Ravens camp and we went to the Washington Commanders camp. When we went to both of those places, everybody knew who this dude was.
Uh-huh.
I ain't even know him like that. He was my boss, but I ain't even know him like that. Everybody walking in, oh my gosh, hey Bill, how you doing? How's the wife? How's the kid? You know. where you going next? You're gonna be in London sometime soon. I'm thinking they just talking. This man been this man was in London like the next week. Like what? This man had motion. For real, this dog was everywhere. Like we
Uh,
had him. This man took a whole meeting at the Boston Celtics game when they went to the finals. This man is in the stands in the suite and on a meeting with us. Like what? Bring a jersey back or something, dog. Like for real. Like he's who I inspire to be.
yeah,
But when he was interviewing me for this position, as an intern, he was like, if anybody ever told you that they did it by themselves, they lying.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay. He was like, so, when you get this position, remember the people that helped you get here. Remember your mom, remember your mentors, remember everybody that helped you get here. Because a lot of people will say that they did it on their own and they didn't. They networked into it. And
yeah.
you networked into this position. And so I just remember that, like, that was 3 years ago. And I still remember that. So, um, yeah, man, that's
Man,
important.
that's the yes, indeed. And this is my last question, man. I would say, what's something you say you have done a lot of events? I've seen it in your bio. Great bio, by the way. And I was reading, and I was just like, what kind of question can I ask? And I love you. As you can see now, we conversational family show. We gonna ask you what we gonna ask.
Sure.
Keep it going. But I would say, man, you say you've done a lot of events. You work for a lot of different companies. You work in the media space. What's the ideal job or ideal thing you want to do next? That you like, it could be you still can be working at ESPN, but if a team say, "Hey, can you come do this or could we do this?" What's something you say, "I got to do this before I'm retiring and saying I'm done"? What's something you got to do?
I already got the answer. I just want to see how I want to put it.
Uh-huh.
Um, so what I want to do is kind of like away from sports a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna do sports for a long time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have fun while I'm doing it. I don't know what position. I may still be in this position in a couple months, maybe in a different position, but it's gonna be sports, maybe back with a team. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But um one of the things that I do want to do before I retire, before I say that it's done, I'm finished, I'm through. Um, I want to become a licensed counselor.
Ooh, okay.
That's something that I really want to tap into for real. And I know you're probably thinking like, why? Why do you want to be a counselor? You've done a lot of these great things in the sports world. You're young, you're still in the sports world, you're doing all these great things, but why do you want to be a counselor? I want to be a licensed counselor because I enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
I enjoy, making the situation better. Um, it ain't that many good people in this world left, but I'm considered a good person. I'm never mean, never been toxic, never did anybody wrong, never done anything wrong, never cheated on a girlfriend, never done anything to anybody that would make them want to hate me or do anything out of the way. I have kept it real with folks, but I've never
Yeah.
done anything wrong.
You're a realist. You're a realist.
So in that sense, a lot of my friends would always come to me about advice about, whether it be a girl, career, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always kind of have an answer or try to help them out the best of my ability. So I also thought like, why not do that and get paid? The
Mm-hmm.
same way I got into sports, I used to work in the barbershop and used to always see like Stephen A on the television, talking to Max Kelly or Skip Bayless or somebody arguing back and forth with somebody. And I would just be like, to spark the conversation in the barbershop. And like the only thing is Stephen A got paid for that.
Yeah.
But we was just, they were getting paid to cut hair, but the conversation just kind of was like, how do I get paid to talk about sports?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my journey into getting into sports. But now on the flip side, it's like, how do I get paid to help people, to help them feel good about themselves, to help people, you know, not want to commit suicide or, make them want to go back and fix a relationship that they damaged or whatever, you know. So yeah, that's something that I want to do. And I think what really got me in that mind space for real was when I was in the league talking to some of my NFL friends, whether they were working for the front office or they were a player.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that we talked about, um, I would never repeat,
Right.
but some of the things that we talked about, I remember. one of my one of my receiver friends, my my best friend, he plays for the Jets now, but my best friend, Esau Wiston, we were both in Seattle at the same time. He was Seattle Seahawks receiver at the time I was an intern. And he told me, he was like, I come to you for advice. He was like, I know you're my dog and everything, and I know you're younger than me, but you're very wise, and I come to you about advice.
Hmm.
And I was like, if I was a therapist, would you book to come see me? And he was like, yeah. He was
Yeah.
like, bro, I'll book all the slots. Like, I need you.
Hmm.
And so, when he got traded over here, I don't, it probably wasn't the first thing that he did, but he was like, bro, we in the same facility. Like, we got to link up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. And even when I was out of the league, he would always call me. We would always talk about certain things that went on, you know, and just being able to be there for him as a friend and as a source that I can just, be able to talk to him and just be able to kind of walk him through different stages of different things.
Mhm.
It was just pretty cool. So I thought, why not go back to school, get that degree up under my belt, and be able to have these tough conversations that some of these athletes are not able to talk to their own mom about
Yeah.
or talk to their wife about or whatever. So yeah, man, that's one thing that I want to do before I hang it all up and say it's done.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope, bro. That's real dope, man. I would say outside of me being I'm a data analyst engineer. Sometimes it catch people off guard because like you do good at podcast. I thought this is all you did. I thought you all taught the athletes you do this. And I was talking to we was talking to Rashad Bateman, and it was dope, man. Great. We both from South Georgia. It's cool to see he in NFL. He dominating those things, but he told me he was just like I got hurt, man. It was my first time, going through stuff and trying to think like, dang, what if football go away? Like, what if this is over? And after I got done with the show, my boy was like, oh man, you did the show. I'm like, nah, bro, that was impactful because he opened up. I would never thought he would open up like that, or people would open up like that to me. So I said that's why I do the podcasting because you get to talk to people and you get to see things and learn things about people that you'll be you never thought you'd be talking about somebody want to open up to you about it. So I commend you for what you're doing already. But that right there, that's dope, bro. That's
For
dope.
sure. Um, Before I had that thought of becoming a therapist,
Mhm.
I made a podcast in Seattle called Fourth and Inches.
Okay.
And basically it was on the Seahawks platform, of course, because I was getting paid by them. And there was just some extra that I wanted to do. But I made a platform called Fourth and Inches. It was a podcast, and basically the players could talk about anything but football. Because
Hmm.
a lot of these guys, all they talk about is football, football, football. Their day to day is football, football, football. So, I made a podcast where they can just be themselves. And one of the oldest linemen in the league, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because I know you got a time limit, but
Are you good?
one
You
one of
fine?
the one of the oldest linemen in NFL history right now, his name is Jason Peters. He
Yeah.
played for the he played for a lot of people. Played for the Patriots, played for the Eagles, played for Seattle, and I think he played for Chicago. I don't know for sure, but he's played a lot of places. No one would ever know that he's a DJ on the off season. Like, yeah, like that's an amazing story. Like, I remember I was just talking to him. I was literally just talking to him, and I was like, because he would always have a speaker in the locker room, and like he would be playing some good music, like whether that be smooth jams, like smooth R&B, or Young Boy, or Dirk, or whoever you listen to, Future.
You
He
got it.
had a good mix, like he got it, like he had every song. It was to the point where I would go and be like, "What's the name of that?" Or I Shazam it. And I just kind of like, bro,
Good.
like, how do you have all this music? He was like, oh, I DJ on the off season. I'm like, you DJ? Like, DJ where? He was like, I be DJing in the clubs. I'm
Yeah.
like, no way, for real? He was like, yeah. I'm like, bro, what? Like, so just knowing that and then being able to learn some other things that some of these players, do, or, you know, what they eat for like a game ritual or whatever was just, amazing to me. So I was like, why not share this with the world? And it's something that they want to share because, like I said, they're always associated with football, but you guys don't know who these guys are off the field and without the pads. So that's why I made fourth and inches. And just kind of being able to talk to those guys about life. And it was pretty cool.
That's dope. That's dope, man. You did some dope stuff and still doing some dope stuff, man. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm a fan of you, man. I ain't gonna lie, I stalked your Instagram earlier.
Hey, man,
I
I'm a
was, I
fan
was,
too.
I
Hey, whoa.
was, look, I kid you not. I was looking at some of the people that you interviewed,
Uh-huh.
and I was around my career coach, and I was like, this man did interview actresses, he did interview NFL stars, he did interview a whole bunch of people. Why he want to interview me? And he
That's
was
what
like,
it's
what
all
you
about.
mean? Yeah, he was like, what you mean you want to interview you? I'm like, real like, I just want to know why he want to interview me. So I mean, that's not my question,
Hmm.
but what really made you start this podcast and what really made you keep going with it?
Yeah, man. So 2019, it's like you were saying earlier. I graduated college, bro, and I in college. To give you a little background, I'm an engineer. Went to school to computer science. I never forget. It was one year in college. I seen my boy doing all this media stuff, and I'm just like, man, dang, I want to do that, bro. Like, see how I can do that. But in the midst of that, I had to study for this exam, and long story short, I was nervous. I'm on YouTube looking. I'm noticing people don't look like me, and I'm like, it turned from me trying to look for people to help me out with this coding project or exam or whatever I was doing, and started looking at football, and I was like, man, dang, I see how I can do this, and started looking at certain engineers as black. And I was like, dang, bro. I was like, I wish it was a show or something that can pick me up like right now, whatever. Woo. And as time went, it just kept coming back. I prayed about it. I said, God, you get me through this. I'm going to do something to give back. Same type of week, same type of lineup. Said it just like that. Graduated, got my job, still not doing nothing. So I'm at my desk one day at GM, man, doing the job, man, doing some coding, and in doing development, you get a lot of downtime sometimes trying to run code, do different things. So I'm in my notebook just like, man, I gotta start a show. So I'm like bros with code. I'm gonna start a show. So I get back home, I tell my boy we was living together, and I was like, bro, I think I need to do something, give back. He like, bro, you know a lot of people, like, just do a show. I ain't doing no dang show, man. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. And he's like, no, do a show and just see what it is. So I'm working on names, man. And I never forget, I told a guy at my job, we supposed to have went in. We went on a one episode. And after I was done, he was like, yeah, I love what you're doing, bro, but I can't do this right now. And the craziest thing is you get a whole origin story that people never got. After
Yeah,
all this happened, my boy walked in, my girl walked in. That's how I knew she was gonna be my wife. She was just like, "Well, you still got to keep going because you good at this." I'm like, "All right, cool." My boy was like, "Yep, I'll shoot it, bro." And to this day, he done moved away. He still shoot. He still edit, bro. We
for
can not
sure.
talk, bro, for like weeks, and he be like, "Yeah, when the show come out, bro, you need me to do what? What you need? Hey, yeah." Or we'll get on a phone call and pick up like we did yesterday. And at first, I was sitting there like, "Oh, I'm just gonna interview people in tech, man, because it's easy." That's why I started it. Cool. But like I got to talk to my mom, and she was like, "Boy, you know athletes, you know doctors, you know lawyers. You need to interview everybody, and
Right.
don't never one of her words, bro. Because I lost my mom back in 2022. One of her last words she would always tell me, and I would hear it all the time. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing a good show. I'm glad you're bringing people on and you're treating them just like people. You're not looking at, oh, they famous, or they this or this. Just like don't never ever change how you approaching this, no matter how much fame it brings you. Don't forget that God brought it to you. Like
For
don't
sure.
I'll never forget that, man. And bringing people on like you, I would be wrong for not doing that because you're doing the very things I imagine of doing. And you're just as important as that famous athlete, that doctor. We all the same, bro. We
Yeah.
we all the same out here trying to do good things. So I want people to be able to see a show where you can be like you did today. That made my day. You been looking like this dude had some, yeah, RC on here, and this person, and he want me on here. That's
Yeah,
what.
you want me? Yeah, right.
So yeah, man, I just love doing it, and I think that it's like you said the time earlier. I'm like, man, I ain't worried about that. I love doing this stuff because it don't feel like work. Yeah, I get accolades. Different people, like, oh man, I want to do this or this, so I try to connect with this person, this. But what I have learned in year 6 now, control what you control. Be thankful for what's come, and great things are gonna happen because you're doing great things. It's not about me, man. At first, I thought it was about me. I'm gonna do this and this, but it took me to get one famous person, and I sat there and said, "Dang, I really went through all this, and this really happened. All right, cool." And I still realized they're just a person. All right. Because
Yep.
this teacher, because they just more important as this person. So I think that that's why I do the It Factor, man. I love to do it. It ain't going nowhere, bro. I love to see it grow. I see the people I can connect with. It get to the point now to I call you and be like, yeah, so you know some guys. All right, look, what you think about this? Could we collab together or this? And I love that. At first, I used to be scared of that. Like, dang, what are people gonna think? Are they think I'm using them this? But after a while, people see, man, you're a genuine dude. You just out here trying to make it and tell
For
people.
sure.
That's all that matters. So I love to do
Right.
it, man. Definitely.
Bro, like your friends really sound like my friends.
Uh-huh.
I laughed a little hard
Uh-huh.
when you was like your friends like, man, you know a lot of folks, man, just do a podcast.
Uh-huh.
You wanna know how many times I done heard that?
Hmm.
Bro, like I know so many people. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it about me here, but I get you so much when you said you when your friends were like, you know a lot of people.
Hmm.
And you know it's crazy when like you know people that they just met. Like I kid you, not, I went to DC
Hmm.
a couple weekends ago. Like I got friends that work for the Capitol, I got friends that do it all, doctors, lawyers, I got it all. And like, I'm talking to these people, I'm talking to my homeboy, and he ended up posting me and I reposted it.
Hmm.
One of my homeboys at ESPN, he was like, how you know Trey? I'm like, man, bro, being Trey been locked in since freshman year of college. What you mean? He was like, I ain't know you know him, da 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 da. And I had called him, and
Hmm.
he was like, man, how you know JC, man? And he was like, we've been locked in, like that's my
Yeah.
boy. So it's like being able to, know all these people outside. It's like having a friend group outside of a friend group. You know, so many people to where you can go. Like I've never said this out loud, but realizing it is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
I can go to any state and now have somewhere to stay,
Yeah.
like 100%. I can go to any state and I can really have somewhere to stay because I just know so many people.
Hmm.
Like it's really crazy, but I never knew my network was that large until I posted and I was in the city. Somebody I forgot about, somebody that I don't even talk to for real, was like, "Yo, bro, you in the city?"
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "What's the city? You in Baltimore right now?" Yeah. Bro, pull up to the crib. Like, all right, bet. So, being able to do that stuff, like going there, the whole South,
Hmm.
The West Coast, like
Yeah, man.
I my about 50% of people that I know is from the West Coast, which is really crazy.
It is.
But
That's crazy.
nah, I get you, bro, 100%, and I commend you
Thank
on
you.
doing this podcast. Putting your network to work for you
Hmm.
and just being able to do something that you enjoy. Because I've had plenty of times where I've wanted to start a podcast,
Hmm.
but I couldn't because work has started taking over. But now that I'm actually just like sitting down and relaxing some days and going to work some days, I can start it.
Yeah.
And like, you're kind of giving me motivation to start back fourth and inches. So
Yeah.
it's like, being able to do those things and being able to, you know, talk to these actors and have people like me saying, why do you want to interview me? And so like, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And I really commend you on that for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. And literally, thank you for coming on, bro. I really, it was a treat having you on the show today, bro.
For sure, man. Like I said, anytime if you ever want me to come back, I'm down to come back. I'm down to share the stories, whatever,
Hmm.
you know.
Definitely gonna need you back.
For sure.
But all right, then, bro. My only ask is, bro, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody stop you. And you want to start a podcast, go and start it. Can you know what? Bring it back. It's gonna be beautiful. You need help? You got me now. I'm a phone call away, man.
For sure. Definitely. I'm gonna lean on you a little bit, man, because hey man, I really need to know like the editing software
Uh-huh.
and all these other things. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that and lock in on that.
Okay.
Um, for sure. You telling me to keep doing what I'm doing. You keep doing what you're doing because man, I feel like you're gonna have a talk show one of these days. I'm just like, man, I know that boy. Yeah, he interviewed me a long time ago. I remember him though.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
For
All
sure.
right, then, bro. We'll talk soon, man.
Definitely. Whenever it comes out,
Mhm.
tag me in it. I repost it. I send it to my friends. Just let me know.
Cool, man. Definitely, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, bro. Be easy, man.